Hello, this is Barney from Napalm Death, and you're watching Agoraphobic News.
Hey, Milos here of Agoraphobic News, this time with Mr. Barney Greenway of Napalm Death. Hello, sir, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, just here. That's really what I am, just here.
So it's been a while, so are you excited about the Exit Festival tonight?
Yeah, excited about any gig. Always should be, so.
Yeah. Okay, and so like the first time you played in Serbia was in 1996 in Belgrade with At the Gates. And that was basically like the very first heavy metal concert in Serbia after the sanctions. So do you have any recollections of that?
Oh yeah, we were talking about that. There's quite a weird story behind that. So we because of the situation between Serbia and Croatia, we said, look, if we're going to do one, we're going to do both. So we're equal, So we went to Croatia first and then Serbia. But when we were in Croatia, some people, not from the gig actually, wrote some really horrible stuff about Serbians on the side of the bus. And as we were coming in to Belgrade, we were like, what's wrong with people? They were shouting and waving their fists like that. And when we looked on the bus, there was all this really sketchy, like weird stuff. And I was like, shit, they could have thrown rocks at anything,
I mean, like, some people are dickheads,
I think as human beings, most of us are anti-war, and anti-stupid nationalistic bullshit, so.
And so are you guys working on a new album maybe?
Not at the moment, because the album and the mini album came out in the space of a year, so we haven't even really toured on those yet, so we need to do that first, I think.
So like on the Enemy of the Music Business album, there is this guy Sasha Jankovic who did like this really funny outros.
Today, it was an engineer that was working in the studio at the time, and we just said, just say something stupid, and that's what he did, so.
Yeah, and do you think this album title is still relevant after all of these years?
Well, if you want to look at it in the sense that Napalm is a band that lives and dies by its own decisions, and like nobody in the bigger music world can tell us really how we should be and what to do, then that's your answer, I guess,
Yeah. And so can you tell me something like about the band's name? So who came up with the name and what is like the meaning behind the name?
Well, I think people know what napalm is, which is a terrible defoliant. Defoliant means to get rid of, but they started to use it in bombs, and of course, so it's a very direct anti-war kind of play on words title, So.
Like a reference to Vietnam War, right?
It was, but it means you can widen that out against all war. I mean, let me really state that all war, not just selective wars, all wars.
Yeah, that's a really nice message. Yeah. Okay, and so now like there is album Scum turned 35. So do you know the story behind the artwork, like with all the logos and this?
It was meant to reflect the corporate. The behaviour of corporate entities in the world at that time. I mean, Nestle, so it was
slave owners in Africa.
The baby milk story, if everybody knows that,
Water.
Yeah, water as well, same thing, many different things.
And what about McDonald's?
Well, let's not even speak about that. I have my own particular opinions on that.
Yeah. Okay. And so, Napalm Death is from Birmingham. So why Birmingham? Why do you think that Birmingham has such a strong metal scene? Like, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, I understand why people speak about that, but to me, I think there's a danger of being overly romantic about that stuff. It just kind of happened, you know what I mean? So I don't think there's a magic in the air or whatever like that. It just is as it is. And it could have been any other city, So that's my answer. I'm sorry to burst people's romantic bubble, but that's just how I see it, you know.
Yeah, okay. So we're running out of time, so thank you so much for this interview and have a nice day. See ya.
See you later. Cheers. Thank you. Yeah.
Hey people, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Agoraphobic News. Please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel to help us grow. You can also support us on Patreon by becoming one of our patrons. And big shout out to our patron Season of Mist for supporting our work. So stay tuned for another interview and keep it metal.